So this is my homework presentation. So we have precipitation. Precipitation is one of the four main vital parts of our water cycle and how we continue having water come from evaporation and it continues in that water cycle to come back down to Earth. So precipitation forms in clouds when water vapor condenses into bigger and bigger droplets of water, and then when they get so big and heavy enough, they then fall back to Earth. If a cloud is colder, then it would, at like higher altitudes, the droplets may freeze and form ice. And then this is how we kind of get into what kind of precipitation falls to Earth, like whether it's rain, hail, sleet, snow, or freezing rain. So with that, we have our five main types of precipitation. We have rain, sleet, snow, hail, and freezing rain. So we have, as you see on here, we have rain. Rain is liquid water droplets that fall when temperatures in the air and surface are above freezing or above 32 degrees Fahrenheit. They can start out as water droplets or ice crystals in a cloud, but they always come back down to Earth as back down to the ground as liquid water. With hail, as you see in there too, we have balls of ice that form that fall from the clouds. We see that it's a high updraft where freezing temperatures collide with droplets and form a hailstone. This can happen in an unstable atmosphere, and it's why we tend to see hail with tornadoes. Sleet is rain that forms and falls but freezes before it reaches the ground. And then freezing rain is one that's really cool. I never realized that. I kind of always got freezing rain and sleet confused because freezing rain is rain that falls and then freezes upon reaching a freezing surface. So sleet is rain that forms and falls but freezes before reaching the ground, and then freezing rain is rain that falls and then freezes upon reaching a freezing surface. And then we also have snow. Snow is ice crystals that fall when the atmosphere is freezing. So they fall as ice crystals. Next, we will get into airlifting. Airlifting is important because we need it for the formation of clouds, precipitation, thunderstorms, tornadoes, and hurricanes. Without airlifting, none of our weather processes would happen. So there are technically four main processes to airlifting. Here are the two that I found pretty fascinating. Orographic lifting is when air is lifted over an obstacle or a mountainous object. Just like in the picture, you see how it goes over the mountain and how the temperature changes. Frontal lifting is when two different air masses meet and when one mass gets lifted over the other. So a cold front occurs when a cold air mass advances over a warm air mass, and a warm air mass is the opposite. Next, we have the four types of fronts. So we have a warm front, a cold front, a stationary front, and an occluded front. So a warm front is when hot air pushes against the cold air, and that's when a warm front is formed. Weather for a warm front can be light rain or humid temperatures. Then we have a cold front. A cold air moves under warm air, which is less dense, and it pushes the warm air up. So a cold front is then formed. Weather with a cold front is usually frequent rain with possible thunderstorms, cooler temperatures, and then drier air tends to happen after the front passes. A stationary front is when air masses on either side of the boundary are not moving or are barely moving at all. The weather associated with a stationary front is typically cloudy, overcast, with light showers, and then the conditions do not change until another system passes through. An occluded front is when a warm front is overtaken by a cold front. This is when we get severe snowstorms. So this was my 3 presentations for what we learned this week. Hope you enjoyed it.